Hello, lovely people. Welcome to a Christmas video, which is not a book chat. And you can tell it's Christmas because oh. um, yes, and Layla would like to welcome you as well. I was going to cut that out, but I think I'm just going to leave it really. Okay, so I thought I would read you a Christmas rhyme, which I wrote a few years ago. And which is my excuse for why one of the characters is called Alice. Because I did write it before. She's going to bring the Christmas tree down on top of me any minute. Um, um, right. Okay. Sorry. Yes. So one of the characters is called Alice. It is not the Alice from the Beaufort Scales stories. But as my lovely friend and editor will tell you, I am not very good with names, so I call all my characters by the same names pretty much. Okay, so Merry Christmas from me and the Little Furry Muse before she knocks the camera over. And this is the real night before Christmas. 'Twas the night before Christmas, and in Santa's workshop no one was slacking, they worked on non-stop. The elves were all hungry, their feet were all sore, and no one had slept for 6 days or more. The reindeer milled grumpy in the snow-covered yard. It didn't look much like a scene on a card. Everyone was waiting for the old man to appear, but they were sure that he'd stopped for one final beer. The door flew wide open, and out stepped Mrs. Claus. She looked pretty furious, and not without cause. Santa followed her out, his face kind of sheepish, and he waved to the elves, who scowled back all peevish. Well then, he cried and rubbed his fat belly, let's be off with these presents then, shall we? But the elves and the reindeer all cried out and said, we've had enough of all this, you silly old fathead. Well, Santa was shocked. He was utterly staggered. In all his long years, this had never once happened. Elves made all the toys, reindeer pulled the sleigh, and never had he imagined any other way. So he huffed and he puffed and he cursed a bit too, and demanded to know just what he should do, because the sleigh wasn't ready and the sacks were not full, and Mrs. Claus was treating him terribly cool. More pay, said the elves, and vacation time too, and credit be given where credit is due. All those cookies for you, the whiskey and letters, but nothing for us, just shouts to do better. We're forming a union, we're checking things twice. Now we decide if you're naughty or nice. What's all this? Cried Santa. What's this you say? You can't change things that were always this way. No more, declared Rudolph. We've had quite enough. Our backs are down in from lugging your stuff, and you could stand to lose a few stone at least. You're far too heavy for even magical beasts. We're done. Come on. Sorry. We're done, shouted Dasher. We quit, shouted Blitzen. You can't make us stay, declared Donner and Blitzen. No more chimneys for us, not on this day. You're much too fat to squeeze in anyway. What are you saying? Cried Santa, distressed. Mrs. Claus, help me, they're terribly distressed. Mrs. Claus nodded, her kind eyes a twinkle, and said, my name's Annie, you silly great dinkle. And this is entirely your own bloody fault. You're the one never thinking, always acting the dolt. If you treated us all just a little bit nicer, we'd all be as sweet as sugar and spices. Well, Santa was shocked, but the elves quite delighted, and Rudolph laughed so hard his red nose was lighted. I think, said Annie, that the time may have come for you to get working and not just sit on your bum. But I do work, cried Santa. I drive the sleigh. I delivered the toys to the kiddies before day. It's all terribly important, you just can't understand. It's a man's work, you see, too hard for your hands. The elves booed loudly, but Annie smiled sweetly and said, my darling, I understand completely. You want me to stay quiet at home with the elves while you keep all of the fun stuff to yourself. Santa blustered, protested, he stomped and he swore. He used words I hope you have never heard before. But the reindeer all laughed and said it was true, while Annie looked at the sky and tapped one woolly shoe. With all of this fuss, we're running terribly late. It's almost Christmas already, so let's get this straight. The elves have stopped working, the reindeer won't start, and there's deliveries to be done from Tonga to Hyde Park. So tell me, dear Santa, what do you suggest? Let's have a plan and better make it your best. Santa pulled on his beard and looked awfully lost. Never really had to prove he was boss. Then Rudolph said in an offhand sort of manner, we'd carry you, Annie Claus, you're fisher and quicker. You could be up and down chimneys and in and out windows before Fat Chops here has had his second dinners. Santa tried to object, but Annie was a little more quick. She said, well, wouldn't that be just quite the kick? We can share the mince pies and the whiskey as well, and Father Christmas can stay at home for a spell. He can help the elves with their after-work cleaning, and when we get back, he can get the sleigh gleaming. I hope you don't think this unnecessarily harsh, but you really have been an insufferable ass. The elves, they all clapped and the reindeer all cheered, and the sleigh it creaked loudly as the presents appeared. Annie got in and pulled her robe tight. She said, "Don't wait up, dear. You have a good night." "Now, Dasher," she cried, "Dancer, Prancer, and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen, to the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away all." The reindeer bounded into the starry night sky, Rudolph leading as away they did fly. Santa raised a hand sadly as they flew out of sight, crying, "Happy Christmas to all, and to all a good night." Okay, I hadn't named her Alice. I should have read that before, so ignore that particular bit at the beginning. And apologies for the Little Furry Muse making her presence felt. And lovely people, if you're celebrating, however you're celebrating, I hope you're having a lovely time and looking after yourselves and doing whatever you need to do to get through this last little bit of 2020. And we shall see you in the new year. Take care of yourselves. Speak soon.